When is that gonna go away? Like, I'm a human being going through the same thing you're going through, and I might experience it different, but that doesn't make my feelings or my thoughts or my emotions any less valid than yours. Um, Psychologists and therapists, and it's like, okay, you can do the research, but there's only so much a book can tell you.
Yeah.
Like, only a person who felt these things and experienced these things can really explain what it's like. Then it makes me sit and think, you know what? Okay, let me explain it, and maybe if I break it down, you can also at least see where I'm coming from. You, whether you agree or not, you can at least see where I'm coming from, and that's such like a beautiful thing to me. Um, it's because it was Kanye. I'll get the actual quote before we actually do it. But Kanye had a tweet, and Kanye tweets it. Go even before his diagnosis. He said something like, if I have an apple and you have an apple, we both have one apple. But if I have an idea and you have an idea, we both have two ideas.
Oh, that's true.
Like, I'm like that. That was so interesting to me because it really is just about connecting with people. And like when I'm depressed and I isolate myself, I feel like, okay, nobody's gonna understand. And it's like like there are no new feelings. Anything you've ever felt, like someone else has felt it too.
Yeah. But I hate that depression does
Yeah.
that. Like the fact that it makes you want to isolate, which is like completely the opposite of what you should probably be doing. But it becomes like, okay, I'm feeling down. Nothing's gonna help me,
No,
so
but
just here.
that's okay, and that's another interesting like aspect because she's a female, right? The other person.
Yeah.
I'm of the hold it in, deal with it yourself, and of course there are times where that can be detrimental,
Yeah.
but there are also times where I feel like I have to climb out of the valley myself, or else because if I lean on something as a crutch, as soon as that crutch is gone, I'm gonna go back. You know what I mean?
I definitely feel you on that one. So wait, so for
Yeah.
now, what do you still do group therapy or no?
My last hospitalization was 2016, uh, and I just feel like I've gotten, and especially like, I became a workaholic, but
Or
I've
how many jobs do
gotten
you have now?
right now zero because all my jobs are entertainment. Kent, Madison, all that's cut, all that's cut. That's done for the year. But that's another thing. There like and I saw that was one of the signs of depression. Just overworking without taking a break because it just like keeps you from thinking about whatever's going on in your head. You're on the clock. You have some, you have a designated assignment, and that's what you're focused on. When Corona started, at first I was like, oh yay, it's vacation time. 4 months later, it's like, okay, you know what? I felt it even when I was working because I would always use the analogy of being on a hamster wheel. It's nice to feel like you're moving, but movement isn't progress. And I was faced with just looking myself in the mirror and like, okay, who am I outside of work? You know what I mean? Yeah.
How did you do that after 4 months? Like you had all these jobs keeping you busy for so long, and like you were task oriented, but now Corona hits and it's 4 months without it. How did you even deal with that?
I have a crazy work ethic, and I just started to apply that to myself because the most important work is working on yourself. Like even if you're not getting paid for it, but um that I'm sorry. I take these
Okay.
long breaks to it's hard for me to get a train of thought. And have you ever watched? Sorry, just a sidebar for 1 second. You ever watch Kanye's David Letterman interview on Netflix?
No, it's on. I'll look at it. I didn't know it was on Netflix.
At at I'm glad this gave me like we're gonna push it back. I'm gonna rewatch that because that's the most open Kanye's ever been about his mental illness.
Oh wow.
There are times where I'm just so connected, I'll rant and I'll rant and I'll rant. But usually it when I'm stable, I'll have a I'll have a point, but I'm always like, what's the most efficient way to get it across? And that's where I take my pauses. And you'll see me like, how do I say this? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, I'm actually still a work in progress when it comes to that because yesterday, I felt so bad about myself because I didn't do anything. Like there are days where I'll wake up early, I'll go play basketball, I'll jump rope, I'll like just to feel like I'm bettering myself. But like whenever I feel like I'm standing still, it hurts me, and that's what a day off felt like when I was on the hamster wheel. If I felt like if I take a day off, that's the day I could have been making money. Today, that's not a productive day. Yeah, no, and that's why I'm here at Kent now. Yeah, I'm on the outside, but this has become my little my home away from home, like my little safe space. Even like being at home, um, 29 now, so I'm getting like the feeling of like, yeah, I'm getting too big for this space. Like I need to um have my own. And it's in like Kent's closed, so I'll come here and I'll listen to audiobooks and I'll
Nice.
play music and I'll watch a movie every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just to At first it was an escape, but now it's more like therapy to me.
Okay.
Um, I'm I feel like I can only be my authentic self when I'm alone, and I hate that feel. Last night, 2 nights ago, um, Franz, Steven, Vanessa, they FaceTime me, and we had a conversation about something, and it's like, I love that, and it just we didn't skip a beat. Like I love that about us. We have like such a connection that we can go months without talking, and I could be going through all of it, but
Mm-hmm.
the second we relink, it's like, oh, um, we catch up, and it's like, yeah, yeah.
That's dope.
And that's what I struggle with the most. Like I said, um, I don't blame everything on being introverted. I don't blame everything on being bipolar. I'm also introverted. So I need my space. I need my time to recharge. I can't be every day checking in on everybody. I can't. Um, but it's one of the things we talked about, me, Franz, and Vanessa,
Mm-hmm.
was every like other people. Like I feel like, damn, y'all not checking on me. I don't care. But then again, they're feeling the same way. It's like, oh, Henry's not checking on me either. I'm like, absolutely. And to the point of living in your own head, I I excel in my head. It's now, how do I get that to the outside world? Only when I'm manic and I'm like, they're like, um, I could be manic to the point where I don't even feel like I'm saying the words are coming through me. I can get so connected. And that's what the pills took away from me. It's like, damn it.
Okay.
Um, I'm
Which pills did
I'm
that?
very
Because you said you were on Depakote and risperidone for whatever reason.
de-
Which
dep,
one?
dep,
Depakote?
do you remember which one? Because I feel like Depakote is bigger and Respirol is smaller.
Yeah, Depakote is pink. It's like big.
Then
Yeah, the
it was Depakote. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, I just I I have to be prepared. Like that's why today I was like, damn, it was like, so I was like 12. It's early. I was like, I woke up, I came over here. I was like, shit. Right, but I'm also like understanding that being nervous is the cousin of being excited. I'm like really like trying like it's a weight off my shoulders to speak about it now instead of like feeling like, man, are people gonna judge me for what I'm saying? It's like if I'm realizing if you speak your truth, whether or not people agree with it, they're gonna feel it because it's your truth. So yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely one thing for me. I was like, when the other person reached out and was like, she wants to speak about it, I was like, oh wow. In my head, I'm already thinking, I'm like, I don't want people to comment or make certain remarks where like they're attacking. Like I never want to bring anyone onto Awrnss's platform that is speaking their truth, and it's like I now have to defend them. I'm like, so I was a little weary about doing this. So I was like, okay, Zoom is probably best bet because if there's anything you guys aren't comfortable with, I can edit it out. Like there's no rush
right
now. So, but
yeah,
I think she feels kind of like you. She speaks her truth a lot from like the posts that I see that she puts up. Because, you know, Facebook and IG have like this random thing where you can't always see right away. But like from the ones that I attach, she speaks her truth a lot. So I was like, okay, maybe that's why you guys want to do this. Like you guys want to speak your truth. And I feel it's great that you're not worried. You know, you're worried, but it's not stopping you from speaking your truth about it.
No, it kind of started with in February before all this quarantine stuff started. I don't know, you know, Michael Che, the comedian Michael Che. He does Saturday Night Live.
He sounds familiar, but I'm not sure of him.
Right. I went to see him at Caroline's in the city, and he had a joke, and I love comedy because that's another thing I do. I watch comedy specials because I feel like comedy is a way to speak the truth in joke form, but like so it's like it's easier to digest because we're laughing about it, bro. He said something like, "Oh, my cousin got diagnosed with autism," and I was like, I felt good about it. I was like, because now, right? He's like, yeah. He went through it too. He was like, I don't know if I should say this, but you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I felt like good about it because he took himself out of it. But so to get to the mindset of okay, at least now it's a conversation in our community.
Okay.
And he's like, because growing up, what did he say? Ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Right? And he looked right at me and said, right, you've heard that, right? Of course I've heard that. It's like, it's when we don't speak about it, the stigma, like you let other people put the stigma on. I mean, there's no way to they're never gonna break the stigma. No. It's the people living with it that have to break the stigma. Right, no. One of the things I remember from group therapy was my counselor saying, I don't need my heart surgeon to have a heart attack to operate on me. Like that's why I appreciate like psychologists and therapists. And it's like, okay, you can do the research, but there's only so much a book can tell you.
Yeah.
Like only a person who felt these things and experienced these things can really explain what it's like.
Exactly.
And even for us, it's hard. Like I struggle with that a lot, like articulating my point. Because there are times where I want to say something, but because I want to appeal to as many people as I can, I don't want to say water it down, but I have to like get to the common denominator so it can relate to as many people as possible, to the point where it's not just something that only bipolar people would understand, but people as right, you know what I mean?
But do you feel like that takes away from the truth of what you're trying to say though, when you're trying to like reach all these people? Because I get it, you want to reach as many people as possible, but there's a certain truth to it when you say it the way you want to say it originally, as opposed to trying to reach everyone.
Correct. And once again, that's why I said I wanted to speak on it with her, with the other party, because I don't know. I don't know anybody else with bipolar. Me personally, I've never met a, well, I mean, outside of like, group therapy or whatever. I don't even know if they were bipolar or if they were just from drug addiction or whatever. Like, because it wasn't a bipolar group. It wasn't like a bipolar self help thing. It was people who some people were there court mandated. I don't right. Maybe they are bipolar. I wouldn't know, but I never really sat down with another diagnosed bipolar person and had a whole conversation. And then here comes another joke. Dave Chappelle was saying, "Oh, like when crack was a problem, everybody called it, oh, it's these bums, they're doing crack." But then whatever it was after meth or whatever, and it was white people doing it, it's like, oh no, it's a mental health issue. It's get these people help. And it's like, you see, why is it only you can feel this way, or you can there's no signal when you feel it, but there is one when I feel it. When I experience,
Yeah, people. Well, not people. Let me not say that, because again, like I definitely am focused on Black mental health. I do feel. I mean, we put our own stigmas on it too, just like because I said it in the video that I posted up. Like, you guys are all making fun of Kanye because he's going through this, but we also know he was diagnosed with bipolar. Did anybody or any one of you who are putting up these memes or cracking these jokes take the time to understand what mania is like? Like the fact that he goes through these highs and now he's breaking down and he's going into like the depression phase. Like, I'm not gonna say I didn't laugh about things I didn't know before, but when you know better, you gotta start doing better. And I feel like all of a sudden we're doing all these Black Lives Matter and paying attention to mental health, but you're still somebody going through it. So which is it?
Yeah. That's very true. And I honestly, I haven't seen actually many memes. For the most part, I've seen most people say pray for Kanye. Like that's what came across my timeline and my stories and stuff. But I can understand why there would be memes. If you don't understand it, like it's just oh, he's just he's in the sunken place or whatever. But that's another thing. Like if we get into Kanye, I'll speak on it. But Kanye was diagnosed bipolar. What? I think it was 2016, right? But just because he was diagnosed bipolar then doesn't mean he wasn't always bipolar. He was bipolar when he said George Bush doesn't like Black people. He was bipolar when he stood up for Queen Beyonce and took the mic from Taylor Swift. Like, I feel like he's earned the right to get the benefit of the doubt. Yes, there are things he said. Do I agree with everything he says? Of course not.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the times it's how he says things that detract from what he's saying, and that's what I've like. Okay. You could say the most right thing ever, but if you're screaming it, no one's gonna hear you. No one's gonna believe you. And it's like that's what I've had to personally and maybe that's what I meant earlier about finding the common denominator.
Got it.
I just have to like spoon feed it, because if I don't, you're just not gonna get it, because certain things you only get if you're bipolar.
Okay. As long as it's not taking away from you to have to do it, because I feel like you kind of have to explain yourself to people, especially people you care about that are around you, that are trying to support you and understand it. But it's also up to us and people who aren't diagnosed with bipolar or whatever else to do our own research and try to understand. Like you said, give Kanye some grace, because he was bipolar, didn't just pop up right now. Like you said, he was bipolar during the VMAs, and we just didn't. So before it was just, he's a creative genius, but now that he has bipolar, he's in the sunken place. Like, no, he's still a creative genius. It up. Like, a lot of the things that we thought he was crazy for thinking, he's made come true. The man has like how many acres where he's building farms and all this. Like
I had that idea earlier. Okay. I feel like there's a link, and maybe you would know better than I would, but there's a link between bipolar and having an addictive personality. I feel like a lot of people with mental illness become alcoholics or abuse drugs, right? Now, so let's say Kanye doesn't do that. Kanye doesn't abuse drugs. He's not an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Attaining a goal, right? So he started out as a producer,
Yeah.
and then one day he looks around and says, "You know what? I want to be a rapper." They'd be like, "Kanye, get out of here! You're a producer." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna do this," and then he does that, right? And then he's a rapper. Now, I want to go into fashion. Kanye, you're a rapper. Stop it. And then he does that, and he just
Exactly.
it's high chasing. But it's different. I guess it's different for him because uh it's the same progression of, okay, I'm gonna start with weed, now I'm gonna do coke, now I'm gonna do meth, and it's just like
Open.
high chasing is an issue. It's we we love that mania so much because it makes the depression worth it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. um that's why when I commented, I was like, I'm much rather go through the highs and lows than just be
That big,
baseline or
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I was hated that I was hated that word because it's like, oh, my baseline isn't me feeling good or bad, and I'm like, but
I've never heard that.
like,
Like you're the first person to tell me in terms of like medication that they feel stuck. I remember you telling me that. So now when
yeah,
I talk to my patients and who I
mm,
do end up diagnosing with bipolar, I'm like just more cautious about how they're actually feeling and if they're feeling. Because I always remember you telling me I feel stuck. Like I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad.
yeah.
I'm like,
No,
that's not the point of
no,
the meds. Like,
you see, that's what I felt like it was. It was here. Let me subdue you. Stop it. If I don't feel good or bad, uh, I'm not depressed, so I'm not gonna hurt myself. So that, and I feel like that's the only thing they're trying to prevent. Like
no,
that's what I feel like the
that's not.
medication, like prevent you from feeling depressed and wanting to harm yourself. There's actually, I have a specific story. When I was on medication, it was, I'm at camp. It was Easter Sunday. I remember it vividly. It was busy as hell, and I'm just robotic. Just, hi, how you doing? One for Fast and Furious. Okay, here, just enjoy. Next, this, I might as well have been a kiosk
Yeah.
spitting out the machine. Right. Um, and then my coworker's mother, I was close with this coworker. I spent nights over there. Like I was really close with her, and she said, "Oh, you can call me mom," and all that. So she walks up, and like I said, I've been doing this for hours now. Just okay, you go, yes, yeah, and I've been in this just state of just just zombied out.
Mhm.
Um, and then she walks up, and something inside of me wants to go, "Oh my God, hey, how you doing? It's you." And I couldn't. It just felt like something was weighing on me where I couldn't um feel my emotions. I feel like it just took the soul out of me. And I like I said, maybe it was too much of a dosage. Maybe
Yeah.
like, because like I don't feel like it should I feel like it should keep you from it should balance you,
Yeah.
but shouldn't subdue you.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like you were on both, and I'm just like, I feel like it was too much of one thing. Like if you're on
Right.
a mood stabilizer with the risperidone or even just the Depakote, what was
Mm,
the need for both? Unless, like you were saying, maybe you were experiencing some type of drug-induced psychosis or something like that. It's
right.
something different. But at some point, they can
Yeah.
evaluate you and take one off. If like,
Right. But like, and that's another thing. I would go once a month. Hey, how you feeling? I'm all right, I guess. And maybe that's another thing. Maybe not telling them what it was doing to me
yeah,
made them think, okay, yeah, just give him another month's prescription. I'll see you next month.
oh, okay,
Because
okay,
I never, I like, with the doctors that were prescribing it, I never actually went to therapy with them. It was just like a quick check in. Okay, here's your next month's prescription.
but why is it
And like,
that you didn't tell
go ahead.
them? Like, why didn't you tell them this is what it's making me feel like? Did they not ask you like, how are you feeling? What's your mood? Are you eating and sleeping? Like mood specific.
I don't know if I was able to articulate how I was feeling because I wasn't feeling anything.
Okay.
So it's like you saying, oh, you're fine, just so you don't have to get into it.
Got it.
Like I said, maybe I didn't have, like I said, this was younger me. So and I feel like that's like the danger zone between like adolescence and like 25, when a regular human mind is still developing.
Yeah.
Especially a man's mind. Of course it so because I don't get those manias to the point where um I get so grandiose to the point where I can just take over the world. Um, Now it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way. If I want to pursue this, what are the concrete steps? And the second I go, okay, how do I do this? I'm like, you know what, forget it. Maybe this isn't what like. It's so easy for us to get to a point where we're like, yeah, I can do this, and then when it comes down to the details, it's like, and that's what I feel like Kanye needs. That's another thing with when to go back to Kanye. It's like I feel like he doesn't have people around him anymore, because you get to that level and all what you have around you is yes men. Whatever you say, yes, because they don't want to get on your bad side. But question it. Like, okay, you have this idea. How are you gonna go about it? Like, how did you get to this conclusion? So yeah, like I said, I just don't want people out there to feel alone, because I felt that for a long time. Um,
No, definitely.
yeah.
I'm so happy you're not there though. Like that you actually speak about it now.
Oh,
You were just
oh yeah,
for like the longest. I'm like, hey, what's happening? What happened to
yeah,
oh yeah, he's working.
right.
So I'm like, oh okay, like
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know you were bipolar back then. I don't think any of us did really. So it was like, now I understood more like the MIA times. Like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's I feel like everybody feels this way. Nobody wants to burden people with their problems or with their issues, because they have their own issues, right? But I mean, what are friends for if not for that? Like, if not, then like it's not like that's the thing. I always we've growing up, right? We would link up and it'd be a good time. It's fair weather friends is the term, as the term goes.
Okay.
I only want to see you when I'm feeling good, and I can make you feel good, and we're having a good time. But when I'm feeling down, it's like, damn, I don't want to. I feel like it would be bringing you down to my level. Like, oh, I'm lonely. Let me see if I can get some company.
Okay.
Instead of feeling like, oh, I'm lonely, let me go see if I can raise my mood by being with people. I always thought it would bring others down instead of lifting me up. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow. This is so much to deal with. Like, I mean, I deal with it with multiple people, but just you as a person having to go through it from, I guess you're saying from adolescence to now, but you seem to have more grasp on it, which is good.
Yeah, no, it was the question about how did I feel when I was diagnosed. It was a relief. It was like, oh, there's an explanation. Okay, I'm not just loony, So yeah, that's okay. I'm not okay, and then and you look it up, and millions of people suffer for it, and it's like, okay, okay, all right, that's what it was. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Did you just come out and tell people though? Like, I don't even remember how I
found
out.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't remember when I found out or how I found out about it.
I
said it or
well, my first hospital, I was hospitalized 3 times, but all of them were because of drug induced psychosis. And it's weird because it's like, now that I don't take drugs anymore. I don't feel as bipolar. Like I still identify with it because like I did my research and I looked it up and I'm like, oh my God, I have gone on lavish shopping sprees of stuff. Oh yeah, I need this right now. And I have felt so good that I don't want to sleep. I don't want to ruin this. I want to keep this up. But I guess being able to notice the signs of mania coming, I can prevent it now. I can or when I'm in depression, I never get too high or too low now.
Got it.
I feel like the drugs are really what the issue was. And like I said, now I'm comfortable speaking about it because I feel like I don't exhibit as many episodes anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, my first hospital stay, I think it was Nancy, Dolores, maybe Will Arlene also, came to see me. Like they didn't like it was crazy when they showed up.
They definitely didn't tell the rest of us.
And that's crazy because that's what my mom was afraid of. It's like, oh, they're like, I'm like, Mom, you don't know, you don't know. That's not how we are. Like, yeah. Oh, that, huh? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not on them to tell you guys. It's me if I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like. I can't really remember when I first found out. Like how I can't remember at all. Like I feel like you might have said it in a group, like, but you said it so nonchalantly. It was just nothing at the time. Like, oh, okay, and like not really taking into account like, oh, these are why the MIAs happen, or these are why, because you be coming out with some crazy gear. I'm like, yo, how many of these does Henry have? Like, none of it clicked until like after you told us.
None of what clicked? Like
in terms of your spending, like I feel like you would come out with some like expensive ass outfits. I'm like,
okay.
Like, or you'd be working so much. I'm like, he doesn't get tired. Like, does he want to go on a vacation, take a day off? Like, no.
Do you understand? I got to a point where vacation was the worst thing for me. I felt better at work than at vacation. Like I said, because I got so wrapped up into working that I didn't even know who I was outside of work anymore. Yeah, I remember I had an existential crisis when we went to Mexico last year, and it was like, damn it, why can't I connect with people anymore? It's like, it was torturous for me because it was like, damn, everybody's smiling and having a good time, and I'm like, shit, why do I feel like the oddball? You know what I mean? So it was just so weird to me to feel like that. But that was because I was portraying someone I wanted to be instead of who I am.
Ooh, nice. How did you come to that realization?
Honestly, it was literally one night just laying on the beach, just looking at. It's just I had to go deep within myself and understand that A, you're not gonna connect with everybody.
Yeah.
And and B, it's okay if you don't. Like that was the harder part. Like accepting the okay, well, I'm not for everyone. Because literally, like, you know what, like one of the things Dolores said about me that I always remember, he's like, you're always the one that says what everyone in the group is thinking, but no one wants to say out loud. and I remember that so vividly because it's like I can't go around like that. I can only be that with people I'm comfortable being that with. I can't. I feel like I couldn't just live my life like that. But everyone else does. Everyone else says what they feel, and however you want to take it, whatever. But me, why is it I feel like I have to censor myself? Why is it that I feel like and that's that comes from uh there are times where I go MIA, and then when I was manic, I would status after status, just whatever came to my mind, I'd tweet it or whatever out. I'd post it, and then you start getting feedback, and it's like, yo, you're on some other stuff right now. So
Mm-hmm.
now, so you get that, and it makes you question yourself. Not just, okay, this person didn't get it. It's like, oh shit, this person represents everyone, and now I need to look at myself and be like, yeah, let me bite my tongue and keep from expressing myself because this one person didn't get it. Like like I look back and I'm like, that's insane. But
I feel like it's not just because of bipolar. We all do that. Like, I feel like there's times, like, a lot of my posts, I finally, like, now that I'm comfortable with everything that I've been through, whatever. But
yeah,
the quotes that I put on Awrnss, there are things, like, I wish somebody would have posted at the time I was going through my own things. Like, posts I would have read, or
yeah.
maybe it would have helped me out of my depression, like,
Mm.
sooner than later. So that's why I post a lot of them. So when I don't get the feedback that I wanted originally, it would be like, darn, I would take it down. Like, no, it's not resonating with anyone. Let me remove it. Let me try to, like,
Right. Oh
change the
yeah,
words.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna take
Yeah,
it down. Now
absolutely.
I'm just like, bump it. Like, I redid my whole personal page because I want to be more
Mm.
intentional about the things I put and how I portray myself. And there
Right.
were pictures with like 140, 120. I'm like, damn, I don't want to take this down because it reminds me at one point everybody liked this. But I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
like, I took them all down. I'm like, whatever people like, whatever resonate, whether it gets 5 likes, 1 like, a repost, no post,
Right.
I'm leaving.
Okay.
Like, you know, so I definitely
Right.
understand.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't have to do that because you're bipolar or going through a manic phase. I think that's just humans, period. Like, we're looking to connect someone somehow.
Okay.
When it does it, it hurts. I don't think it's because you're going through your manic phases that you were just like, pop, 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 putting these things out. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's your truth, so it might have been, but I feel like we all go through that as humans, period.
Gotcha. See, and that's what I'm trying to like find. Find. Um, the where the bipolar ends
Mhm.
and me being a human being starts.
But why is it a distinction? Why is it not part of you being a person, a human? Like, why is there a distinction between the two? Your illness, like,
Because
why?
um I don't want to sit here and blame everything on being bipolar.
Okay.
My mental illness isn't the entirety of my mental health. Um, so when I'm not manic or depressed, what am I? You know, you know what I mean? So that's uh who I need to be comfortable with, because I'm comfortable being manic, I'm comfortable being depressed.
Oh,
But
wow.
when yeah, I've gotten to a point where I can handle both extremes, but the middle is still very confusing to me.
It's just wow. That's
Mm.
wow. So how
Yeah.
do you feel like you're getting a grasp on I guess, like, that middle part between the two extremes?
Absolutely, this conversation alone is like, okay, and same thing with yesterday's when I was to FaceTime and Franz and Steven.
Okay.
um it's just good to know that I could say something, and I it not be called crazy. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, that's what the that's where the stigma comes in. It's like, if you know I'm bipolar, I don't want you to justify everything I'm saying that you don't agree with something. It's, oh yeah, yeah, you're crazy. Like, but it's like, no, I'm trying to explain it to you, and you're like shutting me off because I have a mental illness.
Got it.
And even like I said, even the word illness like bothers me. Like, I have a mental imbalance. If I'll say that. You know, like, it's I just don't like the negative connotation, because when you think of somebody with a mental illness, like, you know, the first person well, I guess a lot of people like found out about mental illness was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in his schizophrenia.
I never
right?
actually think about them, but yeah, they are.
Right? That's where I was like, but when you think of him, you think of a mad scientist just talking to himself, and I'm like, when is that gonna go away? Like, I'm a human being going through the same thing you're going through, and I might experience it different, but that doesn't make my feelings or my thoughts or my emotions any less valid than yours. Like I said, I'm my I'm gonna tell you my final thought. That was one of the questions. But to me, it's just as much a superpower as it is a disability. Like, same thing as everything else. Um, you can fight it. You can be like, nah, I'm not, or you can lean into it. And um, uh, I just learned to appreciate the highs when they're there, and um, understand that the lows are a season and they're gonna pass. So like I said, like that's why I've gotten to this mind state, and that's why I feel like I don't need medication anymore. But like I said, maybe my bipolar disorder isn't as severe as the next person. I wouldn't say medication isn't the answer at all, but for me, I'm I'm learning to balance myself, so I don't need a mood stabilizer. Yeah.
Aw, thanks, Henry. This was
I
so good.
mean,
Like,
thank
I
you.
learned so much from you. Like, just actually
Hey.
hearing someone, because I mean, again, I assess my patients, but because I'm not there to specifically do therapy with them, I may sit there and listen to something they're having an issue with right then and there or within that week. But my main focus has to be the medication and making sure that they are in therapy on a weekly basis or they're doing therapy.
But do you not notice a difference between where they were before medication and afterwards?
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, okay.
I can tell a bipolar. Now I've come to the point where I can tell someone's bipolar by the way they act. Like, they were a trigger to me because when I first was a provider, like, I'm human. Before I'm a mental health provider, I'm human. And they would have the craziest attitude, some of them, like, to the point where I'm like, I'm reacting to that attitude. I'm like, yo, you're not going to come at me no type of way. Completely forgetting I said it. And then after I started realizing the pattern, like, most of them were coming in their manic phases. Like, I had one come to me.
Unfortunately, that is when the hospitalizations happen during mania. It's never like, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm gonna go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, not me at least. And not Kanye. It was until he started doing rants in the middle of his concerts and walking out, like, yo, get us some help. It's a thin line between genius and crazy when you're in mania. It's just like, okay, and me personally, I've learned to talk myself out of it. And I don't know if you saw I did see that's how true it is. After the George Floyd thing, I posted the thing about I put it in the JJ chat about how we could what we could do to affect change and start to cancel out racism.
I don't think I read it. I'd have to go back.
Because I deleted it.
Why?
Because I sent it out, but it was like 8:45 in the morning, and I sent it out, and then I was like, shit, no one's replying.
See?
I'm gonna delete I'm gonna delete this. But for some reason, after I deleted it, Perpetua, Gloria, and Nancy, all Perpetua and Nancy thought it was an interesting train of thought. And Gloria was like, yeah, if only it was that easy. And like, of course, I'm that doesn't bother me. But okay, I'm like, okay, if you say, you can say I'm wrong, I have no problem with you saying, okay, you don't agree, just don't call it crazy. Like that was my only thing. I got and that at that point I was going through it because I think I had been up for upwards of 3 days.
Okay.
No, 2 days. 2 days and change, like 40 hours. Just
how is that? How staying up for that long? Like, You don't feel tired. Like,
no.
I mean, I
That's
get
the
it.
last thing.
Like, you don't. It's just like I don't. As I can understand it, assess it, and all that, but I really can't understand it. Just being up, because I have patients that'll tell me I've been up for the last 3 days. I'm like, you didn't crash? Like your body literally crashes after a period of time. How are you still up on day 4?
Okay, day 4 is dangerous day. Day 4, you start like you start hallucinating. You start hearing voices and like your thought like you would be like, if you're outside, your thoughts become like someone is saying it to you, and you're like it's not your thoughts anymore. You're talking. Someone is talking to you, and that's when I've got to that point. But that was my first hospitalization.
Okay.
When I got to that point.
That's why. Okay.
But this last episode, it wasn't. There's no drugs involved.
Mm-hmm.
I got on a high, and I wanted to ride it for as long as possible.
Okay.
I don't know what it was that, because I never actually crashed. I just like, okay, that's enough. It's never like my body just gave out on me.
Yeah.
In that state, it's euphoric. It's and that was what I was saying earlier, where it was like, you don't second guess yourself. You're just you're in flow, and that is the feeling I wish I could hold on to forever. Just feeling like I felt like I had all the answers. Like like it was see, to me, I felt this way, but on the outside world, we were like, "Yo, you're all right," and it's like, "Shit." But I closed that off because like I said, I'm like, just because I'm manic, doesn't mean what I'm saying isn't right. Like, you know what I mean? So no, I exploit it, and I go through it for as long as possible, because that's when I'm at my best, unfortunately, because you know how because like I said, and you're on a tightrope, because it's like, okay, you get to a certain level of mania, and everybody's with you, and it's like, yo, you're speaking facts and others, and then you keep going, and then it becomes like, whoa, okay, that's you got a little too far. Yeah, exactly. So because I remember telling my one of the doctors that I spoke to, like they drew me the like the roller coaster ride, the wave, just a wave of going up and down mania and depression. And they're like, okay, I want you to be right here in this middle. I'm like, no, I'm not happy there. I'm happy right about here. But it's like, okay, you see where you want to be. A little bit above that is hospitalization. It's just like shit.
Yeah.
I was like the one drug that probably my favorite drug was Adderall, and Adderall is a medication, isn't it?
For ADHD.
Right. I'm like, why can't you give me that? I felt great when I'm on that. It's like, no. It's like, no. That's the last thing you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a little tricky. Like, if you don't have ADHD and you're on it, it kind of pushes you into like that whole all over the place type thing. So it's like, that's why they're like, nah, you don't need to be on that if you're like already there. We're not gonna put that on top.
I felt like it made me focused. Like, but like I said, it was off the street. I mean, I was probably getting it from someone who was diagnosed with ADHD and actually got the medication, and I was just getting it from them. Right. But it's like, I don't understand why. I felt good when I was on it, like, but I guess I'm not one to question. You've done the homework, you've done the research. But all I can tell you is how I feel when I'm on these things.
I mean, yeah, we do. Let's say, all right, one thing about psych, it's not a science. Like, we're kind of learning and growing as things go on. So as much as there's certain things that we know for sure, like antipsychotic drugs, they're gonna raise your blood sugar levels. You know, so we need to watch out. Some of them are definitely going to sedate you. Like, there are certain things, yes, we know, but in terms of how you feel, I always need to know, how does it make you feel? Because we use medication for off-brand purposes. Like, a lot of people like to use Seroquel for sleep. It's not intended for sleep, but it has that effect.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You kind of have to go with what the person is telling you. Like, this works for me. Like, I'm okay. I have patients that are on crazy meds, like Ambien, Xanax, Klonopin, Seroquel.
Why would Ambien be a
Ambien, the patient has like PTSD, they have schizoaffective, they have so many different things. Some are not drug use. So I had to come, like, and he was with a previous provider that I trust. And that is what keeps him at what he feels is okay for him. He's never completely happy. He's never completely sad. He's like, the depression is still there, but I can function at this level. And when I first started, I was like, no, we need to get rid of some of these. And he's like, no, like, I've been through so much and this works. So for me, I'm always afraid of him. Like, yo, these are a lot of heavy meds, but it works for him. So it's not to say we've done research, we've done science. You have to let us know what you're feeling when you're on these.
Gotcha. Okay, and I guess that's where I went wrong. So
we have to know what exactly it's doing too. If you're coming in and saying this works, I'm like, okay, but I'm always just weary about certain meds. And your provider, whoever you're going to, should be weary about it too. Like, you know, we know certain things about the meds and what we need to look out for. So, but again, it has to be how you feel, and are you you feel you're at a level where you can function to what you want. Safely and all that, but like, how are you functioning? How do you feel?
Okay.
So yeah.
It takes a certain level of self-awareness when you have bipolar to be able to see the signs and know what to do to kind of talk yourself off the ledge, so to speak. It's when we don't speak about it, the stigma, like, you let other people put the stigma on. I mean, there's no way to break. They're never gonna break the stigma. No. It's the people living with it that have to break the stigma.